Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shah, double honors to the Apostle GMS. This is Amnawa Allah, coming at you in the video. In this video, I'm going to focus on the book of 1 Peter 4 and 17. Right? Okay, let's start from verse, verse 14. If ye be reproached for the name of Yahweh Shah, happy are ye. So be happy. So if you get reproached, you're dealing with some type of turmoil, some type of hardship, be happy, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. So that's a sign that the Most High is dealing with you, because you're suffering for His name's sake. On their part, He is evil spoken of, but on your part, He is glorified. So they're speaking evil on behalf of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shah. Like, that was kind of stuff was going on back then. People were speaking ill of those who believed in Yahweh Shah, who sought to be justified through faith. But they were speaking ill against them, but He was being glorified on their part, because they were suffering for righteousness' sake. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. That's what you don't want to suffer in. You don't want to suffer as an evildoer. You know what I'm saying? So when people out there in the world catching hell, well, guess what? Well, that's on them. That's on them. They're not believers. They're not suffering for righteousness' sake. They're suffering because of their own actions. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify the Most High on this behalf. For the time has come, so we got to glorify the Most High. Just like when you read the book of Acts, I believe it's the 4th or 5th chapter. When you read the book of Acts, when it speaks about they were happy that that the apostles were happy that they suffered for the sake of the Lord. It was an honor unto them. Let me get that. Acts 5 and 41. I'm going to go right to the point. I'm starting from verse 40. And to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahweh Shah, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for His name. And daily in the temple and every house they ceased not to teach and preach Yahweh Shah. So they stood and stopped. But that's just an example. They were happy. They rejoiced that they were kind of worthy to suffer shame for His name. Back in 1 Peter 4 and 17, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. So guess what? The house of the Most High going to suffer calamities, man. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? So if we're going to deal with hardships and calamities to come, and are currently dealing with them now, what do you think will happen to those who don't obey the gospel of the Most High? They're going to have it even worse, because they have no covering. They don't believe in Yahweh Shah. So guess what? They don't have any covering. They don't have any protection. You got to understand that. We're doing what we got to do through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shah. We're doing what we got to do through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shah. So if we're going to go through it, how much more people who don't even believe? You always got to keep that in mind. So yeah, we going to know people in the world is going to go through things, but that's their judgment. Remember the scripture here? Ezekiel 9 and 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. So this is what was being said. Okay? To the angel. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient men which were before the house. Look at that word mark. Desire mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. Well, that's an example. So there's some people out there that's going to be exempt from that ultimate judgment. But the other is going to deal with it worse. Just like we read in First Peter. If the judgment going to begin at the house of the Most High, what about them who don't believe? Ultimately, Lord willing, we the elect, we're exempt from judgment. We're not going to suffer the same fate as them. You know? This is the book of Proverbs 11:31. Behold, the righteous shall be recompensed in the earth, much more the wicked and the sinner. This is basically what the Apostle Paul is quoting in 1 Peter 4:17. When he said, if judgment begin at the house of the Most High, how much more the ungodly and the sinner? Behold, the righteous shall be recompensed in the earth, much more the wicked and the sinner. So guess what? The righteous are going to be recompensed or receive judgment for their sins, for the action that they've committed. How much more those who are the wicked? How much more the sinner? See? Who got no cloak for their sins. You know? Galatians chapter 6 verse 7. Be not deceived. The Most High is not mocked. So people that think that they're out there mocking the Most High, don't be deceived. Let's look at the word mock.
Strong's G 3456. Mukterizo.
Mukterizo. To turn up to the nose or sneer at, to mock, deride, to treat with contempt. So the Most High is not mocked, but let's keep reading. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. So guess what? You're not going to go and sneer up at the Most High. Mock means to make fun of someone or something, often by imitating them in a way that suggests ridicule or contempt. It can also imply a lack of respect or a challenge to something. So the Most High is not to be ridiculed the Most High is not to be ridiculed or held in contempt. And it gives you where it comes from. These different sites here. There's some AI overview. Because guess what? They're gonna all receive judgment for their actions. So it's not like you're gonna get away with that. You know? Like when IUIs the lemur was saying, you can call the Most High play yogurt. You know? For he that soweth to his flesh, now they're saying that God committed adultery. You know? I believe that was the guy they said committed adultery. See that? That's how wicked these dudes are. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. So guess what? If you walk in fulfilling the lust of the flesh like adultery, guess what? You're going to reap corruption. You're going to reap destruction, death from that. But he that so if you walk in the flesh, you're going to receive that judgment due to walking in the flesh. So you're going to reap corruption. But he that soweth to the spirit but he that soweth to the spirit shall the spirit reap life everlasting. So those are the men that's walking in the fruit of the spirit, man. And you can read about that in the book of Galatians, I believe, in the Galatians, the 5th chapter. Read about the lust of the flesh and the fruit of the spirit. So if you walk into the fruit of the spirit, you're going to reap unto life everlasting. So as long as you walk in the spirit, you're going to receive life everlasting, man. That's what we got to take into account, man. You know, so them people out there in the world who don't believe, if the house of the Most High is going to be recompensed for their sins, we're going to go through calamities and hardships and, you know, receive judgment for the things that we've done wrong. How much more the ungodly and the sinner that had no cloak for their sins, that don't believe? They're going to receive something far greater. So you got to keep that in mind when you see these people out there in the world go through what they go through. You know, don't get me wrong, we men, You know, you may have family, friend, you may be upset if something happened to them, but which is natural. You know, we in the flesh. Don't mean you're weak or nothing like that. But you always gotta keep the scriptures in mind. You know. So with that, I'm gonna close and say, "Oh, praise Yahweh Shemel Shah, double I see Apostle GMS. I hope you better learn something. Shalom."